And what other subjects are you dealing with our next president?
Well, look, the first subject is we have not met him.
Yes.
And serious diplomacy is about building relationships. It's about building trust. You can't expect in serious diplomacy, and I've been involved in diplomacy now for 30 years or more, and I've learned a few things. The goal is to establish a working, trusting relationship which serves the interests of both sides. So I don't expect in one meeting to change the world. We would like to meet the president-elect. We'd like to get to know him a little bit. We'd like him to know us. First and foremost, his focus is on Mexico, as it should be. I understand it. We're coming as an American group of Mexican American and Jewish leaders. We want to talk about the Mexican-American relationship, which is enormous in so many spheres. We want to understand his view of the relationship, his view of the region, his view of the world. We will share our views, but again, this is a first meeting, and he will be president for the next 6 years. And our goal in the first meeting is to open a conversation and then build on it in the months and years to come with both the president and his key advisors in the presidency, in the foreign ministry, and elsewhere, to be able to talk about shared concerns, the Mexican-Israeli bilateral relationship, Mexico's voting pattern at the United Nations, terrorist threats in the region. Those are all issues which I'm sure we'll be discussing. Iran's ambitions to achieve nuclear weapons capability. These are all our top priorities. But it takes time, and it takes trust. And there's no substitute either for time or for trust.
It's true. Now, talking about the UN, there is a battle coming now. Another one.
It's here.
It's here. What do you think will be the outcome of this battle?
Well, you're referring, of course, to the Palestinian decision.
Yes.
To proceed with trying to upgrade its status at the United Nations. Last year, they failed.
Yes.
And we should remember that, because last year they tried to get full membership, and they needed the support of the UN Security Council. And they didn't get it, because 7 of the 15 countries in the Security Council blocked it. Not just the United States. It's important to remember that, not just the United States. And in this region, Colombia was one of those 7 countries. And we remember those countries very well, because all of us worked very hard. But the countries understood that this was not going to be helpful to peace. And those who are genuinely committed to a two-state agreement recognize that the Palestinian decision to go to the UN was going to make the peace a more distant prospect, not a more immediate prospect. So now the Palestinians have decided to go one step below, not full membership, but what's called observer status. And for that, they don't need the Security Council. That's the difference from last year, because they still will not get the support of the Security Council. We know that, and they know that. Instead, they go to the General Assembly, and there they will have the support, because there they have, if you will, what we call the automatic majority. You know, many people don't fully understand this, but there's one Israel, one Jewish state out of 193. There are 22 Arab states, 22. And they will all work together. There are 57 Muslim majority states organized in the Islamic Conference. They will work together, maybe 1 or 2 exceptions, but they will work together. there are 120 members of the non-aligned movement. Who is the chair of the non-aligned movement today?
Who was it?
Iran,
Iran.
if you can believe it. Iran
Yes, they just had a conference.
in
Yes.
Tehran.
Yes, in Tehran.
So you can imagine a non-aligned movement with Iran as its chair will support the Palestinians, whatever they decide.
Yes.
Well, that's 120. You add a few other countries, and Israel is not likely to succeed. So what's the strategy? Well, the strategy, firstly, is thankfully, the United States says no,
Okay.
and has made very clear to the Palestinian Authority the United States opposes this, and strongly. And the United States has also said to the Palestinians there will be consequences if you go forward. There could be serious consequences about American financial assistance to the Palestinians. And we'll see what else. It has not convinced President Abbas to change his mind. So the second strategy is to try and achieve what we call a moral minority. That's not going to block the Palestinian bid, but let the Palestinians win with the support of Venezuela and Bolivia and Nicaragua and North Korea and Syria and Iran and Pakistan. Let, we hope, the countries that are democratic and respect human rights and respect human dignity say, no, we're not going to support this. Let them vote against, let them abstain, let them be absent, and send a message to the Palestinian Authority. Yes, unfortunately there are more Venezuelas and Irans in the world than we would like, but you're not going to get the support of countries like the United States and Canada and other respected democracies, and obviously we hope that Mexico will not support it either. And until now the Mexican government, this is the government of President Calderon, has said we will not support unilateral actions. We hope that the new government will continue that principled tradition of saying yes to peace. That's not the argument. Yes to a two-state agreement. That's not the argument. No one is arguing about that. What people are arguing about is whether the Palestinians should be supported in their effort to go around the peace table to the United Nations instead of sitting at the peace table with the only party that can help them achieve a two-state agreement, which is Israel. The General Assembly will not get them their goal if the goal is a two-state agreement. The only one is actually Israel. So either you sit at the table and you have the tough discussions, or you avoid the table, which is exactly what they've done now for 3 or 4 years, and run to the General Assembly and get the support of Venezuela and Syria and Pakistan, but it moves you away from peace and not toward peace, and that's our message to our friends in the international community.
Well, the other battle is on the media, right? And what the Jewish community in the U.S. Are doing about it.
Well, the first piece of good news, there is a little bit of good news, is that support for Israel in the United States is not just about the Jewish community. It's a very important point. Year after year after year, every poll, every survey has shown that the vast majority of Americans support Israel and support the U.S.-Israel relationship. And this is where many other countries make a big mistake. They think, and we hear this openly or behind our back, it's the Jewish lobby of America. The lobby. As if it's some mysterious, secret force. Yes, here's the lobby. People like me. People who wear ties and jackets and have children and love sports and love music and other things, just happen to like Israel and believe in the importance of its existence, and believe that it's in America's interest to have a strong relationship with Israel. This is the lobby.